Is awesome. There's candy, pizza, pasta, 5-star dishes of some French stuff we can't pronounce, and McDonald's French fries. It's no secret that a lot of the food we eat isn't healthy, but even the healthy stuff has a dark side, and that darkness comes from animal cruelty. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and start preaching veganism and damning everyone who eats animal products, because then I'd be a hypocrite. I love bacon, burgers, seafood, chicken, you name it, I've eaten it. But there's a huge difference between killing animals for food and manufacturing them for food. The animals that are being bred for our consumption are not being treated like living creatures. Companies that are farming these animals are doing anything but farming them. According to The Truth About Your Food from the Food Inc. documentary, animals are being fed growth hormones that prevent them from being able to support their own body weight. They live in their own filth and often in confinement that has no windows, and they get no access to the outside world. They can't roam fields, they can't be animals. In a segment where filmmaker Robert Kenner talked with former Purdue grower Carol Morrison, she admitted that it wasn't unusual for her to have to barrel out several chickens that have succumb to illness from the hormones and their living conditions. Animals that are being treated like this is not only unethical, but it's unhealthy for humans too. The growth hormones that are given to these animals get into our systems when we eat them. Animals that are allowed to roam in fields and given proper nutrition not only live better lives, but they're healthier for humans to consume. Thing we all need as humans is clothing. America specifically has a large variety of different clothing brands that we can choose from. You have the higher end brands such as Prada and Louis Vuitton, but you also have more affordable companies such as Forever 21, PacSun, and my personal favorite, Charlotte Russe. The one thing that all of these brands have in common though is the factories that they're made in. People working in clothing factories in India and other underdeveloped countries are not making even close to a living wage. According to the documentary, Would You Still Wear That Dress After Watching This?, workers at a factory in Bangladesh make less than $1 a day. This is so far below their living wage that families often have to save up money for an entire month just to get one bag of rice to feed their family. On top of this, the factory buildings that they work in aren't even safe. The documentary also followed a few factory workers in the aftermath of a collapse of their building. Not only did the inspectors of the building declare it safe days before it collapsed, but the workers that were injured and lost work weren't even compensated. But these factories aren't the only issue. The materials used to make clothing is also harmful to the environment. According to an article called What's Good for Goose by Lily Hay Newman, down feathers are harvested as a byproduct of the meat industry. Therefore, however ducks and geese are treated in slaughterhouses, they're suffering additionally by being live plucked. In addition to human and animal suffering, the environment suffers from clothing production as well. Thousands of massive plants consuming vast energy and creating pollution are constructed to make tons of synthetic fibers. Most synthetic fibers are sprayed with pesticides and other chemicals that leak into the ground, water, and the air. Polluting the land means that all living creatures are exposed to harmful chemicals. Food and clothing, home is as much a physical need as it is a psychological need. Home is not just a place where we sleep. Home is our sanctuary from all parts of the world that don't make sense, are out of our control, or hurt us. However, similarly to food and clothing, some houses are causing more damage to the earth than we realize. According to an article by Recycle Nation, a large contributing factor to global warming are our average American homes. 18% of greenhouse gases come from residential homes. This means that the homes we live in are big contributors to global warming. Global warming has been having a huge impact on our weather patterns all over the world. The abnormally warm weather makes it difficult for farmers to adapt to decreasing water supply and attacks from weeds and diseases. Global warming is also affecting the quality of our air. Increase in the Earth's temperature is producing more smog. that pollutes our lungs. It's also warming fresh water, which is an ideal home for bacteria to grow and contaminate our drinking water. Our larger homes are not only damaging the earth, but also to our wallets. According to a TED Talk given by Andrew Morrison, he estimates that the average American spends 10.8 hours of a 40-hour work week paying for our homes. This includes initial buying costs, mortgage payments, and daily upkeep that comes with owning a home. When you think about it that way, is owning a large house that's damaging to our environment really worth 10 hours a week for several years of your life? To mind when discussing the topic of transportation is luxury. From classic Mustangs and Maseratis to Porsches and Corvettes, there's no shortage of proof that Americans like to drive in style. But these sweet rides are no friend to the environment, which is entirely our own fault. All diesel engines are capable of running on a variety of oils, such as vegetable oil and peanut oil, without any modifications to the engine. And yet, we continue to fuel our vehicles with non-renewable resources. Why? Because the effort that would need to go in to start converting from using regular gas pumps to using more renewable resources takes a little more work. According to the blog post of a man who converted his car to run on excess vegetable oil, he has to heat the oil to a certain temperature before placing it into his tank. He does this, however, by using 2 electric heating pads that are installed underneath the tank and start heating the oil as soon as he turns the car on. But by not making the switch to more renewable resources, or more environmentally friendly vehicles, our carbon footprint will continue to rise. Along with our homes contributing to global warming, the exhaust and energy that comes from our vehicles makes up about 1/5 of all U.S. emissions, emitting around 24 pounds of carbon dioxide and other global warming gases for every gallon of gas. In total, the U.S. transportation sector, which includes cars, trucks, planes, trains, ships, and freights, produces nearly 30% of all U.S. global warming emissions, more than almost any other sector. As all of these issues seem to be, we haven't just been doing nothing. According to Global EV Outlook, in 2015, the threshold of electric cars sold in the U.S. surpassed 1 million. In 2014, only 500,000 of these cars were even made to begin with. In 2005, that number was all the way down in the hundreds. People are also taking a more healthy approach when it comes to food. An article in the Organic Trade Association states that in 2016, the U.S. reached an all-time high when it comes to the amount of money spent on organic foods. The industry saw its largest annual dollar gain ever in 2015, adding $4.2 billion in sales, up from the $3.9 billion in new sales recorded in 2014. Of the $43.3 billion in total organic sales, $39.7 billion were organic food sales, up 11% from the previous year, and non-food organic products amounted for $3.6 billion, up 13%. Nearly 5% of all the food sold in the U.S. in 2015 was organic. The trend to purchase more organic products doesn't stop there either. In 2015, Fair Trade USA launched their first Fair Trade textile certification, which guaranteed living wages to the people who make our clothes. Global citizens have also banded together in a powerful consumer-driven fashion revolution, now asking the question, hashtag, who makes my clothes? Buy fair trade and elect to respect and protect our fellow humanity. Larger homes are starting to evolve with the organic trade as well. The tiny house movement has been a new trend for a while now, where Americans are building and buying houses less than half the size of their average American home. These houses not only cost significantly less money, but they also do extraordinary things for the environment. The Oregon Department of Environmental Quality released a report which concluded that more than 80% of the greenhouse gas over a home's 70-year lifespan occur during occupancy and come from electricity and fuel consumption. Reducing the home by 50% can reduce the emission of greenhouse gases by 36%. What can we do now, right? It's a lot to take in for sure, but There are little things that we can do each and every day to help make our world a better place. For starters, I know that a lot of what's in here is big picture stuff. Like, you can't right off the bat start buying a new house, or even a new car for that matter. That takes a lot of time to save up the money to go ahead and convert to that stuff. But if you have the means to do it, I suggest you look into it. Because environmentally friendly cars are a lot cheaper than normal cars, and as I already mentioned, smaller houses are also a lot cheaper than owning larger houses. On a day-to-day basis, when it comes to buying food and what we eat and what we wear, it's all about making the little choices. When you go grocery shopping, make sure to read the packages to see whether or not their food is cruelty-free, or even slowly wean yourself off of eating meat products altogether. I know a New Year's resolution of mine is to start becoming a vegetarian. I know it's going to take some time, I have to ease myself into it, but it's definitely something that's doable. If you want to take it to an even bigger extreme, you can try going vegan. When it comes to the clothes that we buy too, try looking into companies that are eco-friendly. There are tons of them out there. There's Crotchet Kids, Everlane, Peopletree, Nisolo, and a ton others. Admittedly, a lot of these ethical clothing brands are pretty pricey, but if you save up enough and you donate the clothes that you already have, you can go ahead and save up to budget for not only a smaller wardrobe, which is better for the environment anyway, but also save up to afford these more ethical brands. All of this comes down to budgeting. Like I said, it's going to take some time, and I know for me as well, it's definitely going to take a lot more time as I'm graduating this semester, and I don't necessarily have a full-time job yet, so budgeting for these more ethical options is definitely going to be a struggle for me. But as long as you put in the effort and you have the heart to do it, it's definitely possible to become a more ethical person. And living well in the 21st century could be pretty easy and pretty fun. Let's do it!